Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. I call the meeting to order. If you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Rachel will come.
I'm here.
Morris.
I mean, Morris.
I know, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
During my
Right? Yeah, see, I remember what it was.
She might come take a nap.
Yeah.
So 903?
903 tonight.
I heard 903.
Okay, if you all want to walk me, I'm going home.
We do have a quorum, 903 of 1,000. Notifying us ahead of time was Tim McLaughlin and Rachel Morris. We do have two adjustments to one addition and one adjustment. The addition is going to be after the third executive session. It's going to be to elect a new vice chair. And the adjustment, I'm pulling action item F, approval of the first reading. So next up is approved minutes of March 5th, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Eight 34, 069.
34, 38, 69. Got something in here. Is it-
Who did the motion?
No one made the motion. Tim seconded it.
Tim
Wood, yeah, Tim Wood.
Next up is board chair report. The board was sent an email this afternoon. I'm gonna read it so the public is aware. Good afternoon. I'm writing an advocacy for the students and staff involved in the MVHS music program in response to what many of us consider a deeply inappropriate comment made by a board member at a recent meeting. I do so, she's not able to attend tonight, or she would be saying this in person. My music teachers are devastated, frustrated, and angry. Students who become aware of this comment are likely to feel confused and discouraged. In my 41 years in education, I've never directed such dismissive or disparaging criticism toward any student, staff member, or parent in a professional setting, never. One of our highly dedicated and deeply effective music teachers has asked that I share the following words. They deserve to be read and heard. The teacher wrote the following to me. We wanted to let you know that the music field trip up to Maine was a success. The students had a great time and made gorgeous music with around 200 singers from across the state. We can't express our gratitude for your help and advocacy for us to get the rental cars to get the kids there. I hate to reach out to you while you're resting and recovering, but Anthony approached me with some information that a comment was made at the, lost my plot, at the budget committee meeting that our band at MVHS was bad. To be completely honest, I'm very frustrated and disappointed to hear a comment like this by someone on the board. I don't really know how to respond or approach something like this, but I wanted to touch base with you. I know you have been working so hard to advocate for both Jonathan and myself up at the high school, and comments like this are discouraging to that goal. I know you already know all of this, but I wanted to compile my thoughts on our successes this year as a music program and advocate for the hard work the students have been doing. This year alone, we have been doing really well, despite Peter's retirement. With Peter's retirement, we also sent off many of our high-flying seniors that were a staple part of the instrumental program in VHS. We had a successful production of Grease, where it was noted that quality did not change despite the change in directorship and without the graduated seniors. For the first time since COVID, we had a pep band attend the senior night football game, with only being approached to play 1 week prior. We had the goal to continue that as well as 10 more games next year. We had 4 students attend the District 3 Jazz Honors Festival. 2 of those students stepped out and soloed at that concert. My lead trumpet has never had experience playing trumpet one parts at a high school level and has stepped into that role and worked tirelessly to prepare themselves for both concert band and jazz band. We have a senior this year that has been accepted to multiple colleges for music education programs, not just to sing in a choir or play in a band, but with a goal to also teach the upcoming generation of musicians. We also have another junior that is learning and preparing with the goal to audition for Berklee College of Music next year, to also pursue instrumental music as a career. Our concert band, though small in number, only having 9 total students for the first semester, worked hard to produce a quality winter concert. Some students came into this year having only played for 1 year of band, or not touching an instrument for 3 years, but have quickly picked back understanding and are doing well in rehearsals. Many instrumental music students have scheduling conflicts, such as AP classes, so they're unable to attend classes, but are learning the parts during the designated rep times, as well as doing work on their own. Also, many of my band and jazz band students were among those that attended the chorus festival we participated in yesterday. I could go on about our student acceptance to all state. That student is a vocalist and instrumentalist in VHS. Our kids work hard. The balance of my job, having to be present both at the middle school and high school for various parts of the day, can be overwhelming. I have been flustered because I don't feel that I'm giving my 100% to both programs the way they deserve, while having to go back and forth. Because these kids deserve high quality music education. We are seeing a quality and preparedness difference with our students at the high school as we look at the longer term effects of not having a full-time music teacher at the middle school since COVID. As you know, they only offer music electives mainly during WIN, allowing for pull-out lessons in the mornings from academic classes and having no scheduled music classes accessible for all students at the middle school. With that struggle, middle school interest and quality has been and will continue to decline, directly impacting the high school quality of our programs, specifically in the instrumental world. That will continue to be the case until ample staffing is met at both the middle school and high school levels for our instructional programs. I know you know all of this, and your advocacy for us is amazing. I also don't mean to rant, of course. I just want for our students to get the credit and support they deserve. And then, the writer of the email, that was a teacher, that part I just read. We expect the inappropriate comment to be addressed, and we also wish to underscore the broader concern. The long-standing inequities in our music program that have been raised repeatedly since before COVID, and the resulting decline we continue to work to reverse. While we are hopeful that this year's decision, despite difficult financial constraints, represent meaningful progress, allowing such a statement to go unchallenged is, in my view, unconscionable. On behalf of our students, families, and staff, I believe effective leadership requires clear advocacy and unwavering support for those who work hardest on behalf of our school community. This is especially true when that work has been recognized at the highest levels, including the honor of being named Maine Music Educator Administrator of the Year in 2024. This letter stands as that advocacy. Respectfully, Linda Pease. The next thing I want to oops. Just as I mentioned at the last boarding meeting, I mentioned where I'd read to the students at Friendship Village School. And I get a thank you note from the first grade. I won't read the thank you note, but what's I think is even sweeter than the thank you note is the teacher came up to me and handed me the card, and then she said, "There's a note in there," because after I wrote the note, the students wanted her to add more to the note. And she says, and after I wrote the card, they wanted to make sure I included the following messages. Because she said who I was and said I was important to the school. And it says, if you're important, these came from the students. If you're important to the school, then you're important to me. You are such a great reader. We love the cat and the hats. The books were really silly. We like the Sneetches too. We would love for you to read to us again. And that just, so I encourage, if board members can read get a chance to go in and do the reading or any kind of volunteering, it just shows you how much spending time with the kids means to them. And, oops, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we censure Melvin for his comments that he made during the March 16th Budget Committee meeting.
Second.
Okay, that was Rick. Who seconded?
Noah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay. Opposed? Abstentions?
So I didn't see everybody vote.
Okay. Can you raise, if you're in favor, can you raise your hand again?
Oh, okay, I couldn't see any of that.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, all right. No,
I gotta go.
okay. Alan is abstaining. 8:30. I don't want to put Melvin is abstaining. Where is it at?
Just don't include when you vote.
Okay, 8:30.
So what was it?
8:30.
Okay. Motion passes 8:30 to 0. Next is superintendent's report.
I'm not going to say much this evening because we're here to support or to hear about the proposed bond to improve the facility at Madomic Valley High School. There are two things that I think are important talking points as we move forward. The first is that we're not asking for a handout, we're asking for a hand up. The building cannot limp along like this forever. And I just want the kids to have a building that looks the way the teachers make them feel, which is what they said to me. And I know that there are some people who are very unhappy with the budget, and there are some people who are very unhappy that we've had to make some hard decisions, and that we will have more hard decisions to make in the next few weeks. I encourage everyone to think very carefully as we move forward about the balance of ensuring that this bond passes at the polls. It is my professional opinion that fixing your high school is the most important thing you're going to do right now. It's important for the future of the communities. It's important for the kids, most importantly. And it really is the next step to making Madomic a powerhouse school district. There's a lot of great things happening here, and the building's holding you back. And so I'm super excited to talk about this tonight, and I'm really proud of everyone and all the hard work they've done, and I believe we can do this. We can get this done. And I have also had a great conversation with the leadership team at the high school. They asked a lot of questions. They had some misinformation. And I explained to the leadership team that I will come back to the high school to meet with either departments or the staff as a whole to answer some questions. I just explained to the high school leadership team, if you aren't publicly supporting this bond, it will fail. Because everyone wants to know what the teachers really think. And if the message isn't consistent, we can agree to disagree on some details, but what we need to do right now is come together as communities for the best interest of the children and pull together and pass this bond. So I can't thank you enough for being here tonight, and I'm looking forward to the presentation this evening. That's all I had to say.
Any questions of the superintendent? Okay.
Just want to also reiterate the loan.
Oh, thank you. We are really, really lucky that we received revolving renovation loans that took over $3 million off the bond. And I want to make sure that people understand that there was also a component for Union. So it's not just the high school. We received revolving renovation bond. They're technically loans, but we only have to pay back 42% of the loan.
At 0%.
At 0%. Thanks, man. Stole my thunder, but that's cool. At 0%, that's not very common these days. So 42% of the loan at 0% is a really good deal. I just want everyone to know that when the items are on the ballot, this is the time to help everyone move forward. I'm afraid if we don't do these things, that the high school will continue to spiral to a situation where it will become truly untenable. Frankly, I think you got there 15 years ago. I mean, we can't drink the water. So the good news is that the revolving renovation loans made the bond a lot more palatable and got it below 25 million. So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate that.
Anyone else? Okay, next is business manager's report.
Good evening, board. I submitted in the packet financials for the month of February. If you have any questions, this evening.
Okay. Next up is student representative report.
Thank you, Danny.
You're
Good
welcome.
evening, board. Last night was the science fair, which was held at Madomic Valley High School, where 24 students presented their projects and were judged by either past alumni, teachers, both current and retired, and community members. There were 4 honorable mentions, such as Cadence Overlock, Abby Kapishke, Kendall Wyman, and Maggie Bruno. And then Grady Emerson won 3rd place, CJ Fluker, who sadly cannot be here tonight, won 2nd place, and David Creamer won 1st place. who was working on a project for the last 2 years now. And then next Saturday, the 28th, all the students will compete at the Maine State Science Fair. 2 weekends ago, the MVHS players competed in the drama festival, which was held at Camden. They won second in Class A out of the 5 schools. And then spring sports are starting up soon, with meetings being held for interest and coaches preparing at school. And then our polar dip is this Saturday, which is the annual polar dip, and it'll be held at 2 p.m. at Bradford Point in Friendship, where classes will raise money, and the senior class will raise money for our project graduation. And that's all I have.
Anything, questions for her? Okay. Excuse me. And next we'll do presentation.
And Matt.
So we'll have Seamus and Grady and the coaches come up too. Rob, you wanna come too? So I'll, what's it?
Okay.
So I'll talk about,
Oops, sorry.
I'll talk about Seamus and Grady together, obviously being twins, I'm sure they're used to that a lot. But we're here to recognize 2 of the best seasons in the history of Madomic Valley wrestling. Both were Class B state champions, both were South B regional champions, which happened to be in our gym this year. So I appreciate the support of everyone that made that happen. And both were KVAC champions. And Grady was the New England qualifier, all-state champion at Edward Little as well. They both qualified for New England's, and Grady, I think, finished 6th, and Seamus finished 3rd. They are the 2 first and only qualifiers from Madomic Valley history in the New England Championship. That was in Providence, Rhode Island 2 weeks ago. So that in itself is a tremendous accomplishment for these 2. They both eclipsed the 200 win plateau. We have a banner in our school that recognizes 100 wins, and they did that, I believe, during their sophomore, junior year. And then they achieved 150, and then this year, towards the end of the season, in the postseason, they earned the 200th, which is amazing. So we're super proud of both of them. I think, to me, I'm sure the coaches and their parents, what makes it even sweeter is the type of young men they are. They're on the unified team, they volunteer, and they help those unified athletes as partners, and they've helped with the youth football and youth wrestling program. So that obviously speaks to their character as young adults too. Grady will go to Castleton State University to wrestle, and Seamus will enter the U.S. Army to be a combat medic after graduation. So 2 young people that are going to continue to do great things after graduation. So congratulations, guys.
Before I hand them the certificates, just want to mention, they do step outside of the school as well. Last summer, I can't know what the money was being raised for, but up at Jefferson Street, they had a dunk tank. Barbara Bush Children's. And these 2 took turns being in there. And they also, you had to pay to throw the ball. But you also, if you wanted to be mean, you could buy bags of ice and have the ice dumped into it. So of course I had to buy a bag of ice to help them out. So, but I just wanted, so it's not just in school that they participate in stuff, it's for the community too.
I just want to add one thing. Obviously, the support of the coaches, Coach Harris, Coach Guest, and Dad, Jason Pease, is also assistant, and Mom's back here as well. They were selected to be part of the Nebraska-Maine exchange last summer, so they went out to Nebraska to represent the state. And I know they're grateful, but that type of support from their parents doesn't happen all the time. And I'm sure they're very appreciative and proud, but their parents have helped them with a lot of opportunities to get where they are. And so well done to you as well.
Okay. This certificate is presented to Seamus Pease, 2026 215-pound Class B state regional and KBAC champion. This certificate is presented to Grady Pease, 2026 190-pound Class B state regional KBEC in New England qualifier all-state champion. Did you want to say anything?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate
So at this time, we'll have Coach Schumann, Coach Simmons, and the cheerleaders come forward, please. So we'd like to recognize our 2026 KVAC Class B cheering champions. I think, hopefully the coaches say a few words as well, but as athletic director, this team had all the ingredients to be successful this year. Obviously, they were very skilled. They had great coaching. In my opinion, they had really good leadership and they had good team chemistry. And to me, those are the ingredients of successful teams that I've seen over many years. They won the school's 10th league championship this year, and I believe it was their first league title since 2022 when they won states. So, you know, winning that 10th league championship, that's a tremendous milestone for you. And again, like the Twins, that 2026 title is going to be up there in the gym on the banners forever. So very proud of you girls. They went to regionals, and I've watched a lot of meets over many, many years, and I thought their performance was had earned them runner-up, and it didn't happen that day at regionals, but just super proud of the way you competed. A week before the KVAC title, the team suffered what a lot of teams wouldn't be able to recover from, and that's a senior getting hurt. And Felicity had actually broke her foot a week before KVAC's, and with her support and the team and the coaches, they picked themselves up and they pulled it together and they pulled out a league title. And that speaks to the character of everybody here to be able to do that. Not all teams can recover from that, losing such a key piece. So we're proud of you. Congratulations. I don't know if the coaches want to say a few words or any of the seniors, but now's your time.
I didn't put them up to it.
I mean, we're just very proud of all the work. It's a lot of practice for very short performances. They don't get time to redo anything, so it's just really good seeing them put in all that work and give it all they've got.
Our school does a really good job recognizing student athletes, so thank you for recognizing us here as well, and thank Mr. Lash and the administration. The school is recognizing cheerleading as a varsity athletic sport, and they are student athletes and they work just as hard as every other sport, and we're glad to see that they're recognized for it. So.
The certificate is presented to Heather Simmons, coach from Dominant Valley Cheering 2026 KVAC Class B champions. Julie Schumann, coach. Abby Morris. Lana Goss. So I'll pronounce his name right. Autumn Holub. Ella McLean. Felicity Griffin. Anna Richards. Evan Luce. Jennifer Schumann. Maddie Lash. Natalie Simmons. And Peyton Eaton. Again, congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
And next is the Madomic Valley High School Capital Improvement Project, EEI and Novo Studio Architects.
Good afternoon, or good evening, board. We have Carrie and Ann back from EEI, Novo Studios. They have presented a couple of times to you before. They're here tonight to give you kind of the final concept for the high school renovation, as well as answering any questions. So at this point, pending any questions, I'll turn it over to the ladies.
Okay, well, hello again. My name is Ann Terror, and I'm an architect and the owner of Novo Studio. I'm here with Carrie from Worms from EEI. You recognize us, I hope, because we've come before you 4 or 5 times now over the course of the last 10 months to talk to you. You can't hear me? Okay, yeah. To talk to you about, what's going on with your high school. So what we're going to do tonight is just do a quick recap of the conceptual design, and then open it up to questions. So I'm going to go through the slides to one more time, go outline the scope of the project, and then Carrie and I are happy to answer any questions. So if we'll just, Ian, thank you. We'll just jump to the next slide. I want to start by reminding everybody of sort of what we've been doing in the past 9 or 10 months, starting with existing conditions, moving into programming.
Ann, could you speak up just a little bit?
It's harder than you think, but okay. I feel like I'm shouting at you guys. All right. Sorry for shouting at you. All right. So over the last 9 or 10 months, starting last summer, we went through existing conditions study, and that's what led us to the work where we were able to receive, with the great help of EEI, money from the revolving renovation fund. We did programming, which led us into the conceptual design and design options phase. We got estimating with EEI, and then we came to and we shared that information. And now here we are at the end of our journey, looking towards moving this onto the ballot for the June 9th vote and moving into community engagement. So the next thing, I didn't do this last time, but I really want to tonight, is really remind you of what the project goals are. The project goals, as I know you've heard me say before, are sort of like the guiding principles of this project. So every time we make a design decision, we ask ourselves, is it meeting one of the goals? Because it's very easy for a project of this nature to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that's what happened last time with the bond vote. All of you act in good faith. We want what's best for the kids, but we also want what's best for the community. And the very first thing that we've done is identified our goals. So the first one is improving health, safety, and accessibility. And I just want to clarify that means handicap accessibility. The second one is space optimization for 21st century learning. And to translate that real quick, what that means is looking at how your building uses space so we can use it better for learning needs of today's students and teachers to understand if we even need it in addition. And as you recall, I've stood here before at previous presentations and shared with you that as a result of the work in the space optimization, we found out we didn't need an addition, which was great news because that leads us to goal number 3, which is fiscal responsibility. Not overbuilding, not asking from the community members any more than what we actually need. Focusing on our needs, not on our wants. So if we move into the next slide, I was notified of a few questions the board might have, and I thought I'd address them before we roll into the scope. The first question is, why does the design not include an addition? Well, I think I just answered that. So Ian, if you go to the next slide, we really wanted to, number one, use space optimization to try and make our space work better for us so that we need less of it. And then two, keep our costs down. I would love to build and design an addition for you, but it would really raise the price of the project. And then that would be adverse to our goal number 3. So the next question was, why does the design not include upgrades to the auditorium? Again, our third project goal was focusing on what the building needs, less about what we want. I know that we would love to do an auditorium renovation of the Madomic Valley High School, but that would just add to the cost of the project. Carrie, do you remember what the price tag was for that?
To add, the auditorium ad was, we had a few different variables with it, so it ranged from a few $100,000 to around $1 million, depending on where we wanted to go with the overall design.
Well, assuming that we wouldn't choose the platinum $1 million option,
Yes, really about 200.
it probably would have been around $300,000, which I'm sure we all want it, but do we need it? Is that part of the project goals? It wasn't. And so that was why we made the very difficult decision to stick to our strategy of the project goals and remove that from the scope. And then the last one is, why does the design not move the greenhouse classroom into the building? And that's because I met, during the programming phase, I met with the department heads of the high schools. And I met with the guy, and I've forgotten his name.
Ryan.
I met with Ryan, and he runs the science department, and he's also the horticulture teacher. And I told him that, one of the things that we'd been kicking around and talking about was moving his classroom into the Madomic Valley High School building. And he was very opposed to that. And the reasoning that he gave is that he really genuinely likes being adjacent to the greenhouses. It's better for his teaching ability, and it's better for the students, so because they're adjacency to the actual plants and seeds. And then when you go back to the project goals and space optimization and focusing on what people need, not what we want, it was the right decision. It was the right decision for the program and the way the teacher and students want to learn. And it was the right decision for the building because, again, we're making best use of the space that we have and trying to avoid the costly option of building an addition. Any questions on any of that? Okay, so Ian, we'll keep going. So just as a quick reminder, our goal number 1, health, safety, and accessibility. First of all, you've seen these images before. It's remediating the approximate 50,000 square feet of hazardous material in the floors. The second one, addressing the water storage treatment. The last time we were here, Brian had the district water specialist come and talk about the system that he would install and what that would do to the current condition with the system, the water system right now. So the next one is looking at the code compliance. A couple of things, changes that my team and I have. We believe you need. We don't just recommend it professionally. We believe you're required to put in a sprinkler system and also some firewalls. Your building's really big, and it's about 105,000 square feet. It was built at a time before the building code made you put in fire separation walls. Today, when we build a building that big, the law tells us we must put up these separations. So our plan would be to add the separations as well as the sprinkler system. The next thing is updating the building systems, functions, and controls. So right now, every classroom has a unit ventilator, which is not very efficient, nor is it very effective. And then particularly in the industrial arts wing, you'll see these things up here, which are very old, basically defunct ventilation systems and heating systems. So we would be completely redesigning the HVAC in the building and installing something that is modern, efficient, and more appropriate for the use. The next one is accessibility. There's a lot of aspects in the building, because it was built in the 60s, that just aren't accessible to students, faculty, parents, relatives, visitors in general, that may have mobility impairment concerns. So first and foremost, the administrative suite, if you're in a wheelchair, you just can't get to the principal's office or to the counselor's office. None of the bathrooms, none of the public accessible bathrooms have a handicap accessible sink or toilet or grab bars or even door. The door is small, it's too tight. The way the walls are positioned, the way it was designed in the 60s, just doesn't give the spatial requirement for someone in a wheelchair to get into the building. We know that the middle school has a student in the wheelchair, and so it's going to be a little bit of a conundrum of what to do with that student. And then, of course, the locker rooms also have handicap accessible challenges. The student toilets. This is an area where we're kind of killing many birds with one stone with this renovation. This will update the plumbing. This will update the handicap accessibility. And jumping down to goal number 4, it will prevent costly vandalism. Brian could speak at length about this, but right now, some of the teenagers, not all of them, but some of them do bad things in the bathroom. So by redesigning it to single user, we provide more privacy for the students, but we also provide more supervision for the staff so that they can kind of prevent some of those not so good behaviors from taking place. And then the last thing as it relates to health, safety, and accessibility is, again, a secure entry vestibule. Right now you have one door to get in. What we'd love to see is a door you're buzzed into and then no access directly into the school. From there, you need to be buzzed into the main office, check in as a guest so there's a record of you being there, and then make your way into the school. And so we would create a new entry sequence as well as add a canopy and a little bit of signage and branding. The next thing is space optimization. And, when the school was designed in the 60s, the administrative needs were just very different than what they are now. One of the things that has occurred over time is the existing administrative suite has a very small, only one in a very small conference room, which if you're trying to hold, say, an IEP meeting for a student and their parents and their teachers, there's literally no place to do that. So what this design would do is it would modify the administrative suite, but more importantly, it would make it handicap accessible so that parents, teachers, visitors, when they come in to meet with their child's teacher or principal, they're not traversing the school. They're going directly into the resource center. And I should mention too that the resource center, the student resource center, would also include the nurse's office. We would move all of those public facing entities directly to the front so that visitors don't need to wander through the building to get to where the current nurse's office is. Everything that they need would be right there. So it's a matter of security as well. The next one is the science labs. Your science labs are very old. Some of the water faucets work, some of them don't. Some of the gas nozzles are so corroded they don't work at all. The sinks are old, the countertops are old. The flooring is the asbestos tile. So what we're proposing to do is to renovate this wing, this aspect of the wing that's highlighted in blue, and make it flexible and modern. And then the last thing is the locker rooms. We have issues with ADA, we have issues with plumbing fixtures, and also it's not a good use of space. In speaking with the athletic director, we learned that they're lacking storage, they're lacking office space. The training room, which is where they take care of the players if they have an injury or just need a break, the training room is too small. It's lacking things like a sink and 2 beds. So we would increase the size of the training room and decrease the size of the locker rooms. We just don't need 20 showers in the girls' locker room anymore. Right now it's being used as storage, so let's just make it a storage room. So we will work to renovate this to kind of meet these design objectives of efficiency, right sizing, updating the plumbing, updating the HVAC, and of course, providing accessibility. Okay.
So when we started looking at this, it obviously came to a much larger price tag. And then as Ann said, we focused on the priorities and where can we make the most cost-effective project that meets the goals that we want for health, safety, ADA, and then overall efficiency of the building. And we've narrowed it down to the 24.9. That also, we were able to also get down here because we could remove money for asbestos in the water quantity due to the grants that we received through the state. This is the breakdown of where the funds are coming from. Obviously, the large portions are walls, flooring, redesigning some of that space for optimization, and then the HVAC equipment and redoing the ventilation system and the heating system throughout the building to match the new spaces as well as bring it up to code for the existing. And if you want to go to the next slide, again, where we were able to pull some of those funds out of the project was almost $1.5 million grant from the state for asbestos abatement and flooring. And then water quantity improvements. We scored number 2 in the state for that grant out of I think almost over 100 applications that were submitted. We were number 2 for the water quantity, and then union ventilation as well. That wasn't part of this project, but it is important to highlight that through the entire state process, we received almost $4 million of roughly like $15 to $20 million from the state for this district. And then part of the overall plan would be if we bring it to warrant article vote in June, and then what we would do is throughout the summer, we would do the asbestos removal through the grant, and then we would finalize the engineering and designing for the phase 1 portion of the project. Because it's obviously an occupied building during the school year, we have to do what we call summer slams. So we would be working and doing majority of the work throughout the next 3 summers, essentially, starting this summer with some of the demo and the asbestos abatement, making it usable for the school year. And then again, the next summer, doing a phase 1, we would do it in wings, and then finishing it up the following summer. In the meantime, during the school year, any work that we can do that's non-invasive would continue. Majority of that work would be finalizing the scope of the design.
Yeah, so I just wanted to pick up on that, and it's a good point, Carrie. So this light blue line, this is what the architectural design and the engineering design, we'll be working, it takes a long time to take a building that's 105,000 square feet and do a design that gives it new floors, new paint, a few new walls, new doors in some cases, rearranging certain areas of it, a beautiful new entrance. That takes a lot of work and a lot of time. What we completed and what we're here wrapping up today is the conceptual design effort. Real design continues, first with schematic design phase, and then the design development phase, the construction documents phase. That's what used to be referred to as blueprints. And that's the document that EEI takes and builds from. There's a bidding phase, so that when they have questions about what the documents mean, or if the contractors have questions, we answer those. And then we're present during construction, on site every other week at least, walking through, answering questions, making sure that everything that is in the contract documents, because it's a document that says, yes, for this money we are getting X, Y, and Z. My job is to walk through and make sure that's what you're getting. And the other thing worth noting about the design phase, and one of the reasons it's so long and has so many distinct phases, is that I don't stop talking to you. I keep talking to the teachers. You mentioned the teachers. I'm sure they have many questions. It's possible they hate my floor plans. Good news. They're not set in stone. My job is to go back, engage with the teachers, hear more from them, learn more about what they do, continue to work with EEI to make sure that we are staying on budget, because that's set in stone. And then create drawings that represent the goals, those project goals, so that that's what gets built. And along the way, I create computer generated representations to kind of show you. I come back and with the client team, vet the design decisions to make sure you like the colors I'm choosing and the materials fit the budget. So there's just a lot of communication back and forth, and it's a lot of work, and that's why it takes all this time. And I think,
And then just to go a little bit back into history and rewind to get how did we get here. When 3 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago at this point, when it was the first bond, there was $80 million worth of improvements that needed to happen in the district. Those stayed. So how do we get from there to here? And over the course of those last few years, we've utilized state rebates, state fund, efficiency, Maine money, energy savings, and came up with creative ways to get some of those items done through mechanisms within the school budget. And over 2024, we've started the projects. 2025 into this summer, we're finishing up some of those projects with the high school biomass boiler system that's going to connect the high school and the middle school, a new septic system. This building will be pretty much complete after we do the ventilation, which was a grant through the state. The $2 million grant was for the ventilation at this building. So we've been able to pick off a lot of these items. And then what's remaining was just higher budget funding. It wasn't able to get done within the budget or the energy savings there. And that's how we came to the scope for the high school. And then also have a capital plan planned out for some of those other items at the other buildings. So they're still on the list. They're now just phased out over the next 3 to 5 years when they'll fit in the budget to be able to accomplish them. So we've taken that 80 million plus worth of improvements, and strategically planned them out from day one through the next 5 to 7 years of how are these gonna get accomplished. And even including the revolving renovation funds, will continue to apply for state funding as it comes out with the other items on the list that are still high need. And so this project is items that we could not fit within those scopes of work comprehensively, or that made the most sense cost-effective wise to come up with this approach. And if you want to go to the next one, I think that might be,
That's it.
yeah, questions.
Okay, Rick,
Go
go ahead.
Okay, has there been any estimate on the cost savings of the, like, the HVAC and like the modern electrical? Because we know how much it costs to keep the building running right now, opposed to if this bond was approved and we did the renovations, this is how much money we'd be saving on heating costs and electric costs.
Yep, so there's gonna be energy models. We started the energy models with a few different designs, and it's gonna come down to when we final engineer it, which system gets in place, and then we'll have the cost savings for the new system, a life cycle cost analysis for that system, and then a yearly cost of operation of what each design would look like. That would come into play.
That'd be good to know, because it's not really 24 million at the end of the day, when there's energy cost savings that you subtract. You know.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other board member have a question? Go ahead, Tim.
Doing the asbestos remediation, ripping up all of the tile, is that anticipated to all be in one fell swoop? To go through and then grind and remove all of the adhesive and everything like that?
As of right now, yes, that would be the plan, is we would do that all this summer. And then pending the results of the bond, we have a few different scenarios of plan A and plan B. If the bond passes, what we do next, or if it doesn't, how we tackle doing that whole floor without kind of repeating work. You don't want to rip it up, put new floor tile down, and then 2 summers later have to rip that back up again.
Right. So the other part that I was curious about, and I brought this up at the facilities meeting, is do you think that it would be possible to not put tile back down if we are grinding and have concrete floor, and we could just epoxy the floor or paint the floor?
Yeah, it would be an option that we could evaluate with the cost savings, or what does it cost to do different alternatives for the flooring. Yep.
Okay.
That's part of those design concepts that we're going to be working through as we develop it, that can come up and be questions that here's either the benefits, here's the negatives, and then here's the cost of what it would be with the comparisons.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Leah.
2 years ago, we added $1 million to the budget.
Mhm.
Can you just speak to what that did for the ongoing projects?
Yeah, so we've taken that $1 million and been able to accomplish almost $10 million already worth of work. We've done the central biomass plant that's currently going on, control upgrades at the Union School, all the windows, the roof here, the high school septic system. We've done, what else was part of the project? Ventilation improvements at the buildings. So, and then control upgrades throughout the district, exterior lighting improvements. I'm probably forgetting some. There was a laundry list of items. So it's been over the septic.
Valves at Miller School.
What?
Valves.
Yes, valves at Miller School, some insulation upgrades at Prescott, and then some other work at Miller for the insulation on it. So we've taken that list and split it into 2 performance contracts, and then completed those over summers, as well as split some of the smaller items out throughout the school year on the control side. So we've maximized that and planned for the future items that weren't in these budgets, but were kind of 3 to 5 years out. Those are part of a phase 3 approach, which addresses ventilation in the other buildings across the district, and then converting all of the rest of the buildings from oil to propane at the remaining 3 schools. After this summer's project, it would be next summer's project.
Go ahead, Noel.
How much of this is built in as like a contingency overage? I mean, we all know costs are not stable. They're going to go up over the next 3 years of this project if it passes.
If you go back, I believe we have a percentage broken out for contingency. I just don't want to miss. It would be in the miscellaneous design, so 5%.
Okay, that 5% does cover the other things listed there though, like permits and moving.
And within that is covered with contingency.
To that point, it's also my job to design to the budget and to change my design if something happens. And because we don't know, ever since COVID, we've seen strange things happen in the construction industry with labor and materials and availability and supply chain issues. And so now at this point, we're just kind of used to it. So if something happens and there's a disruption, it's my job to modify the design to make sure that we do not go over that number at all.
Yeah, it's a not to exceed, it's a cap price, so we design within that for each.
Tim, go ahead.
We see that the science wing and like the front of house is getting some major work, and obviously, taking the tile up throughout the majority of the school. In the electrical line, are we adding fixtures to every room, every classroom?
As in lighting fixtures or
Like outlets
Like outlets.
outlets? We would be addressing the electrical in each room, yes.
throughout?
Yep, throughout the building.
Okay. And as part of this cost, also like going back through and reapplying the cove baseboard and painting and freshening up
Yes,
the entirety of the school,
yes.
the whole thing?
Yep.
Something I think is really important to think about with this renovation is the work that my team and I did determined that you didn't need an addition. When I first engaged with the district and looked at the school, I was given the materials from the previous architect. And they called for attaching the arms. And that the price tag on that was between $9 and $10 million. And I said, okay, that's fine. Give me the notes. Please share with me all of the programming notes and the data that says you need this addition, and show me what's going in it. And it didn't exist. And so we said, okay, stop everything. Let's go interview the departments and let's do a real analysis to understand if you need that $10 million addition. And we showed that we don't. So we're not changing the school physically from the outside, except a new sign and a new canopy at the entry. But on the inside, it's going to feel new. It's going to have new floors, paint on the walls, new ceilings. We're changing out the doorknobs of every classroom because right now they don't meet ADA compliance. They need to be a lever. Right now they're a knob. When you walk into the building, you feel like you have a new $100 million school. But it's really just a renovation. It's the same beautiful old bones that they built in 1969. We're just giving it life for the next, I don't know how many decades, 30, 40 years. And you have to do it. And the impetus of this project was actually to fix the guts, right? So the water has issue, the electrical has issue, the air, moving air through the building has issues, the heating and cooling has issues. There is no cooling actually.
Right. Condition the air, bring in deep.
So we started with, okay, we have to fix the hazardous materials and the guts of the building. But along the way, when you do that, you rip it up. And it's the perfect chance to put it back together in a very meaningful way for your kids and your staff. And so, yes, it's a great question. Yeah, we're not just gonna rip things up and walk away.
No, I didn't mean
Yeah,
that.
we're coming
I just
back.
meant everything
It'll
is
be
being
everything.
reflected throughout,
Yeah.
not just the redesigned science wing and moving the
Yep,
things.
Exactly.
to the house.
It'll all
Everything.
feel, we're not changing, generally speaking, we're not changing the size of the classrooms.
Right.
That's not gonna change. They work very well actually for your student population and student body. But the classrooms themselves will feel so different.
Awesome. Thank you.
Betsy?
When we toured the high school and we were walking down the hallway, some of the hallways had lockers on both sides. And I think I heard from people that the students hardly use lockers anymore. Are those getting, some of them removed, all of them removed, or do you not know that yet?
I do know, the principal let me know that generally nobody uses them, and the intent would be to remove them. And that does a couple of really good things. One, you no longer have the noise, because metal lockers actually generate a lot of noise and is very distracting for ongoing classrooms. And two, by virtue of removing those lockers, and again, we're ripping up the floors to get to the plumbing and to remove the asbestos, and we're putting down new floors, so there's never a better time, because then we can put the floor underneath where the lockers once were. We're widening the hallways just by virtue of removing those lockers. And we do have a little bit of a congestion issue, and so that'll greatly alleviate that issue and be far better for the students and staff.
Thank you.
Any other board member have a question? Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to show those videos while you were on TV?
Go ahead.
I'm just asking before I disconnect.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Does anyone want to preamble them?
Yeah, so we've created 3 videos. One combines these two, but I think these two are pretty powerful. One is on ADA and space issues, and the other is on HVAC and building issues. And we interviewed some of the staff and walked around the building to get some footage to help show the community some of the issues, and then hear it firsthand from the staff members of the district what those issues are and how it impacts the school and the students.
And number 2.
Thank you, Ian, for doing that. Next is action as a result of the MVHS capital improvement project presentation. Do I have a motion?
What's the motion? Is there specific wording that needs to be in the motion? Or just an
Karen, does
amount
anyone
and to
need
send it?
specific wording in the motion?
I don't think this motion needs to be specific because next board meeting, I'll be bringing the warrants. If the board approves this one, I'll bring the warrants that have to be signed and go out to the towns, just like the budget needs to. And those will be very specific.
So the motion should be
I would say the dollar amount,
not to exceed. Yeah. So in the motion needs to have the amount 24,911,164, not to exceed that amount. So a motion to,
I believe the years. I believe it.
so what are the year? You said it should have the year.
I would say it would be a 20-year bond issue.
Oh, the 20-year bond. So in the motion, is to approve the Bedama High School capital improvement project with a, for a 20-year bond, not to exceed $24,911,164.
So moved.
Second.
That was Nicole, right?
Yep.
Any questions from board members? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? That is unanimous, 903. Motion passes 903 to 0.
On behalf of the students and the staff, I can't thank you all enough for your unanimous vote. It means the world to the students and the staff. Thank you. Thank you.
And I think you should explain why you were all bundled up.
Oh, they pulled me off the roof. We were shingling the roof and they pulled me off for the video. I forgot it was the video day. I'm fine. I hate being videotaped and I hate hearing my voice, but I was awful proud of the kids and the people that were, the kids were so happy when we fixed that roof. So thank you.
Okay, next is,
No, it's good.
go ahead.
It's not necessarily a question, I just wanna say, like, I'm not gonna be here to see this over the finish line. So just please stay diligent, that unanimous vote is a good start, please stay positive and make sure we're all getting in the community, go to your select boards. I just was at mine last night talking more about this. Just make sure we're all on the same page and we're all pushing the same message.
Thank you, Noah. Appreciate that. Next is reports from administrators. Is there an administrator that wants to report out on anything that wasn't in there? Go ahead, Julia.
First of all, each of you should have a flyer from our world language teacher, Molly B. Rico, inviting you to Cultural Day in April. And I also want to let you know that tomorrow, there is an evening of original plays at the Waldo Theater from 4 to 5. Mrs. Farron's 3rd grade class and Miss Janzer's 4th grade class wrote plays, made costumes, wrote the directing, all that kind of stuff. So you can come on tomorrow, 4 to 5, Waldo Theater. There will be refreshments and a celebration after the plays.
Thank you. Is there any other administrator that wants to report anything else? Okay,
Can I comment again?
go ahead.
I don't know, I guess I like to.
We'll let you get away with it tonight.
Fine, you don't have to deal with it after this. I like to point things out that we see in the packet. I know, I'm hoping we all read them, but it just feels like, again, for the public as well, they should be mentioned. You were very modest in not mentioning that Miller is no longer a CSI school, Comprehensive Supports of Improvement School. They have been upgraded to an ATSI, and so it's awesome to see the progress that's being made there. Also, the absenteeism numbers in all of our schools, it's really encouraging to see those improving. We got to hear a little bit more about how that works in finance committee this week, and I just want to encourage everyone, make sure you're reading everything in these packets. There's always something I could comment on every week. So somebody better pick that mantle up when I'm not here.
Okay. Next is audience with the public. So let me just read my usual. If you haven't already done so, please indicate your interest in speaking on the sign-in sheet. I want to review a few rules to help ensure that the public comments process goes smoothly. I encourage speakers to review board policy BEDH, public participation in board meetings, and policy AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, and affirmative action. Copies of both policies are available near the sign-in sheet. We ask that speakers identify themselves by name and town of residence. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. Speakers are to address questions and comments to the chair. The board does not discriminate nor tolerate discrimination against students or employees on the basis of their membership in a protected class. Speakers who share comments contrary to this policy will not be permitted to continue. We will not permit profanity, shouting, or comments that disparage or attack individuals or groups. No complaints or allegations concerning any person employed by the district or against particular students will be allowed. Requests for information or concerns that require further research will be referred to the superintendent to be addressed at a later time. If you have handouts to share, please leave them on the table by the sign-in sheet. The chair has the authority to stop any speaker who violates board policy, these guidelines, or the privacy rights of others. And we've had 2 people sign up to speak. And if you could identify yourself and the town you're from. First is Tori Delisle.
Where would you like me to stand? Is this okay?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
stand right over there.
All right, and I'm gonna start my stopwatch so that I have 3 minutes.
I've got you right here.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, so my name is Tori Delisle. I'm from Wellsboro. I have a daughter who attends the Friendship Village School. I've had the pleasure to attend 2 of your budget committee meetings. And I wanted to come here to address the board, both to acknowledge all of the hard work that you're doing in the budget committee meetings, and also just to maybe raise some of the questions to the larger board that have come up for me as I've attended those meetings. I spoke at one of those meetings previously, so some of you have heard this before, but I really do feel like our district as a whole has a marketing problem. As census states, we have about 2,200 school-age kids in the district, about 1,600 of which, a little bit more, are enrolled. I want to know why we aren't, or maybe we are, talking about how to recruit the missing 600 kids. I know this firsthand experience just from my own neighborhood. Many of the kids who I think are in that 600 number are either at private schools because they have concerns about the quality of the education in our school district, or they are homeschooled, also maybe for similar reasons. We only need to recapture about 152 full-time students to cover the entire budget shortfall. So I know that won't happen overnight, but it seems like an absolutely achievable goal if we have a grassroots campaign to address why we have low enrollment when the kids are there. Even the homeschool students, if homeschool students attend even one class at one of their local schools, the school district receives 25% of the budget of a full-time student. So again, that adds up over time, and I feel like this is something that is addressable. My suggestion is really to help
by the district another year to address this.
1 minute to go.
Thank you. I really think that if we have a grassroots campaign, if we're able to, I don't know if that's letter writing or something a little bit more strategic, but there is a way that we can address this. We should be addressing this. We should all be talking to our neighbors and in the community and really raising this up. Because I really fear for the quality of our district over time. This is when we should be investing in our district, investing in our
30 seconds.
in our teachers, and I really don't want to see enrollment continue to drop if we lose the quality in our district. So please, let's address getting those missing students back into our classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Amy, I just saw your note. You still want to speak? Okay.
Hello, my name is Amy Smith. I live in Waldoboro. I'm a mom of 3 district kiddos, a 24 graduate, a soon-to-be 26 graduate, and a 6th grader. I would like to thank the board for all the work that they do. I would just like to talk briefly about our kind of communication issues. I really want this warrant article to pass, and I really want our budget to pass. And I'm concerned that in the context of the current budget meetings and what's being presented that occurs to the community as being fairly disruptive, fairly big changes. I'm not saying I don't support that, but I think just in the context of that, I'm just concerned that we really be intentional about our communication with the community. Having seen a bond fail in the past. I love those videos, and at the same time, I think we really struggle as a district in how we're challenged to communicate effectively, not only at the school level, but at the community level. And what one of the things the last speaker said is, kind of our challenge to sort of sell our own talents and gifts and the things that we do well. I just hope that people are thinking about how we're going to do this effectively. And I think the last thing that I would say is that I think that it's important that all of this be inside the context of a bigger vision for the district. That if this just seems like a rescue boat, people are going to ask you, well, then what next? And so I hope that you can take this year's budget and this warrant, and you can really think about how you're communicating with the regular, everyday folks in all of our towns, so that they can see that both the annual budget and this warrant article are not just necessary, but are really valuable.
1 minute left.
A really good use of their dollars, and that they can feel proud to support our schools in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for people who have signed up. So next is approve a 1-year contract for administrator covered under the administrator group collective bargaining agreement pursuant to policy GCFB/R Takia Cox.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
I tried.
we'll give that one to Leah.
Yeah.
She made the motion, and Mel the seconded.
So Lee and Melton. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It is unanimous, 903 to 0.
Say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Takia, thank you. You've been I didn't know the previous director, and I'm new to having an adult ed program under my leadership. And I just wanted to tell you that your energy, your commitment, your, I don't know how to put it except to say good vibes are resonating with a lot of people in the organization. And the first thing that I noticed that I thought was so important was the way you advocated for the students, their humanity and their decency. And we just want to thank you for your advocacy and support of the children in finding a way, because we all know that everyone has a different path, and it's more important that you're on a path and you're committed to it than what that path is. You'll find your way if you really commit. And I think you're a great resource. I won't be here, so I want you to hear from me publicly that I think that you're a wonderful resource for these children and these communities. And I think that you're going to do an incredible work in this role in the future. It's inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have Brian speak on this next one, but it's vote on Maine DOE revolving renovation loans as presented. So if we can have a
Good evening
motion.
again. So as a reminder, we have 3 projects that have been funded through the Maine revolving renovation. There is hazmat remediation at the Madomic Valley High School. There is water sewer improvements at Madomic Valley High School. And there's indoor air quality at Union Elementary School. Total loan for this is about $3.96 million. We would be responsible at a 0% interest to repay about 1.69 million of that, which is about 42%. And we would be able to take assumption of that money this summer, and we've gotten through until September of 27 to expend those funds.
And I, just to let the board know, I know the facilities committee voted to move this forward. Did the finance committee vote on it too, or just the facilities?
Just facilities.
Okay, so I just want to let the board know that the facilities committee did vote to move this forward to the board. So can we have a motion?
Make a motion to proceed with the Maine DOE revolving renovation loan as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
I have,
Go ahead.
when this is on this goes on the ballot, correct?
Correct.
Do we say in the description that it's 0% interest and that we only have to pay back 42%?
Yes, well,
Okay, thank you.
you know, also to note, between a loan that's coming off and the middle school note, it'll have almost no impact to the current facilities budget over the next year before it becomes due.
How do we let people?
I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, I can. I did.
I'm fading a little over here. My day clothes were.
We need more Coca-Cola. Stat.
We spread the word, basically, to answer your question,
And it's us to, yeah, that.
educate the public.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know we're, have some big asks as a taxpayers between the bond and the budget. This will be almost none.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It is unanimous, 903 to 0. Next is approved Madomic Valley High School senior out-of-state field trip pursuant to policy IJOA.
So moved. Second.
And who seconded it?
Nicole.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that is unanimous, 903 to 0. And after the motion's made, I'll have Matt speak on this. Approve a donation valued at over $1,000 for wrestling mats pursuant to policy KCD.
So moved.
Second.
So Tim,
Very good.
What?
it's been moved and seconded. Matt, if you want to explain.
Yeah, certainly. So this fall, you approved the same motion for the first set of mats, and we're fortunate with Jason Pease, Jed Harris, and the wrestling community that we have an exceptional fundraiser. Every year they host a youth wrestling tournament that attracts anywhere from 300 to 400 young wrestlers, K through 8, to the high school, and it's a very successful fundraiser. And they would like to purchase another set of mats, again, to help out the district, but also to use for that event in future years. So again, it's the same purchase that we made, previously, but just have another set of mats to help with that, fundraiser, but also to benefit the program going forward. That's why it looks similar.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Go ahead.
What's the amount?
Just out of curiosity.
Over 1,000.
So,
Just curious.
what the mats are?
Oh, no, what the amount of the donation is.
Can I share that, what the total is?
Mhm.
It would be about $12,400.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let's get to buying cows.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Can Jason P. say a few words real quick?
I suppose, go ahead.
I'll hear about it tomorrow from Danny at the bank. So Mr. Lash is correct, this is a huge fundraiser for us, but seeing how this is on TV and for the public, thank you, because it's our sponsors. We get a lot of sponsors, a lot of businesses, a lot of private sponsors, friends of ours that know us and want to support our programs. And we have a great youth program right now that's being run, and so we have a great future. So we'd be remiss if we didn't say thank you to all of you guys, but to thank you to our sponsors. Because the event brings in money, we have to pay out a little bit. We have the cheerleaders work for us there too. They help out, so we give them a donation for like their uniforms. So all the wealth is spread around through many sports. This year we did volleyball too, that helped out, and just trying to help other programs because our sponsors are so generous. So thank you, and thanks to the sponsors.
Thank you, Jason. Any other questions for board members?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Jason, I just wanted to mention that, in the context of the financial issues that we face, what you've done for this is exactly what brings us all together. So I can't thank you enough to raise that money. It's another example. I didn't realize you raised that much, and I'm so glad that Leah asked for the dollar amount, not just the approval for above 1,000. Because I was thinking a few $1,000s like this fall, so I really, it was a little shocking that it was over $12,000, but it's an example of what we can do when we come together and focus. So thank you, sir.
And, Jed and I have been partnered up for quite a few years, knowing each other. He's worked with my boys that you saw tonight for years, but now, sorry, but we're not truly district people. My boys, we live in Jefferson, so we have a pick, and we chose Madomic, and I've heard a lot. I'll tell you, Madomic is a great place. It's a great community, and that's why we chose it, and that's why we stand by it. And I'm told Jed and Mr. Lash and our other coaches that if they'll have me, I'll stay with them, because if Jed and I aren't working together, we're on the phone together every single day. Our wives get tired of it. They're like, hey, why don't you just go in the other room and talk to Jed? And so that's how she gets through the night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 903 to 0. Congratulations. Tim and Noah seconded. Next is approve a Doug Libby Memorial logo on the wrestling mats.
So moved.
Second.
I'll let somebody else have that second.
So who seconded it?
Naomi.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
Do you have an example of it?
I do have a picture, but I have even a better story if you give me 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
5 minutes?
Maybe,
No, I'm just kidding.
maybe. So I'll try to do this without rambling, but the approval of the logo on the mats, the support of that was obviously very special to the wrestling community and myself. But I just want you to know of what that approval, what happened with that. So we ordered those mats in October, and when we ordered those mats, they said 8 to 12 weeks. That became an estimate of 20 to 24 weeks. The hope was to get those mats for the youth tournament on February 1st, and that came and went. So finally, towards the middle of February, we were told that they were going to show up in a week, and that came and went. So that was delayed 4 times. Finally, they told us that the mats would be delivered on March 4th. Well, that happened to be the first home meet of the middle school wrestling season, okay? The wrestling schedule was done in the fall, so there was no coordination of this by any means, it just happened. Well, one of the schools that came to wrestle that day, again, based on just the way it happened to be, was Warsaw Middle School, which feeds wrestlers into MCI up in Pittsfield. Well, on that team was a 75-pounder by the name of Dash Libby, who happened to be Doug Libby's grandson. Oh, so that young man was the first wrestler on that mat that was donated on behalf of his grandfather. He happened to wrestle a fifth grader on our team, 75-pounder Silas Gethner, whose father wrestled for Doug Libby in the 80s. So I believe those things don't just happen by chance. I think it happened for a reason. The mats were delayed 4 times. It could have been delayed a 5th and not been there that day. But it happened and we dedicated him that day, and his grandson was the first to wrestle on that. So, you know, your support and your decision, you know, made that moment special for the family. So thank you.
Matt,
Thank you.
I do have the logo right here. I can't project it from my phone, but this is the one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If anyone wants to see that, I mean.
I have them on the paper here, but it's.
Yeah. Sorry.
I can't seem to.
Okay. Well, we can show it later.
There we go. We can get a little Doug Libby Memorial Panther Classic. So it's in the bottom right-hand corner on the mats. Yeah, appreciate it.
Just to show that I'm not from here, who's Doug Lee?
He was
Matt?
an animal.
Matt, do you want to, Karen was asking who Doug Libby was.
Yes, so Doug Libby, he was a phys ed teacher that started when the school opened in '68. He was my athletic director.
Mr. Lash, I think he disciplined Tim Wood. I think Tim was kind of like, you know, his little underling, was that true? Oh, okay, all right, I heard some stories about Mr. Wood in high school, so I.
Yep, so Doug Libby started the wrestling program. He was actually an Olympic level wrestler. He got hurt. And, but anyhow, he started the program. He won a state championship. He was Jed Harris's coach. He, an incredible person. He retired in 2003. He was a phys ed teacher in AD, and I was fortunate to follow him. Big shoes to fill, but he helped me a lot in my transition. So he's a great man. It's another way to honor him and what he did for the district.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Motion passes 903-0. And again, we removed action item F. So the next thing is executive session 1 MRS 40568, discussion of personnel matter.
So moved. Second.
Yeah.
Ben got the second on that.
All right, Ben.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Who was it?
Sound is back. And videos.
Okay, go ahead, Noah.
I make a motion to extend the assistant superintendent's contract to a 3-year contract in the amount of $137,500 and increase the travel stipend to $4,000.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It is unanimous, 903-0. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Next is executive session 1 MRS 4056A, discussion of a personnel matter.
So moved.
Second?
That's good way of running.
Who did the?
Ben and
We
Leah.
get to put Josh's.
Did Josh wake
Oh,
up?
the Josh, okay, Josh.
Did Josh wake up over it? Who's second?
Leah.
I thought it was.
Okay, all in favor?
Hold on, we gotta wait for, we gotta wait for,
Opposed? Abstention? So it's 903-0.
we still have Ian here.
Yep.
Hi, Ian.
You're not saying anything.
Oh, he's gonna leave.
Oh, he is gonna leave, that's right, never mind, sorry.
He can say, you can leave, dance. Can you sing?
Are we in? Are we in? You're back.
No.
There's no crime.
I'd like to
baseball.
make, sorry, I'd like to make a motion to extend the business manager's contract to a 3-year rolling contract in the amount of $142,000.
Second.
That's what it sounded like.
It was Noah and Rick. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained?
We also need to take a vote, Danny, to extend the meeting.
I know I was,
Who made the motion and who?
Rick, second.
Quickly make a motion that we extend the time of the meeting until time needed.
okay, let me first, what was that one of the? It's like 850s. I just want to get the count.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. I always forget the
I
count
can't remember
for
how much how much.
union, yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Is
remember.
it 55?
Yeah.
What you tried to do?
Just figure out what the count was for the vote. Because if everyone's here, it's 9:03, but
Yeah,
we just voted, so what is the count? I know,
Oh, without Nicole, sorry. I was
Yeah, it's
so busy,
8:48,
I
I
was
think.
so busy writing stuff down, I was
No.
my own little world here.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
I'm gonna guess it's like 8:48.
8:48, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm reading, I closed the file. Put Nicole in. Somebody else. 8:48.
Okay, motion passes 8:48-0 to 55. And if, oh, go ahead.
Make a motion that we extend the time and for whatever we need.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, moved by Rick, seconded by Naomi. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? And it's 9:03 to
Extended for what we need. I need chocolate.
9:03 to
I have some of those.
Zero.
Caramel cookies
Next
in my
is
office.
executive session 1 MRS 40516, negotiations with support staff.
So moved. Second?
Who seconded?
Ben, I did.
Josh is still sleeping down there?
Yeah.
Poor Josh.
Bound is back.
There's another action item.
Yeah, there's no action as a result of this executive session. And next we have the adjustment is to elect a new vice chair.
This where I go for a second?
Yep.
Okay. I want to clarify, I mean, everybody knows this is going to be my last meeting. You can't rerun. I have been on the other side of this where you come in the middle of budget season and joining the committees and seeing how everything works. And it's just a lot to take in. So I don't feel right putting all that responsibility on whoever walks into this position. I also feel like with everything going on, it would be irresponsible to give you guys one more thing to figure out at that next meeting. So with that being said, I am effective immediately stepping down as vice chair.
Go ahead, Leah.
Just to clarify, the new person that's elected would not step into the vice chair role.
Correct.
So you're just doing this so that you can have somebody elected before they start.
I guess. Yeah, it's, I just want to get stability for you guys is my entire reasoning behind it.
I haven't seen a time when a Washington or Friendship person has been a chair of so many committees, so it hasn't been this March thing. Cause usually all the committees we organize in July anyway. It's just unusual that he's a chair of two committees and the vice chair of the board.
My bad.
Just this.
Sorry.
Good at it.
So do we have a motion to elect a chair, a vice chair?
Andy put yourself out of a job.
Vice chair.
Or who did you?
So I nominate Rick Butler, vice chair. If you want it, of course.
Hold on. Okay, is there a nomination for anyone else?
I nominate Ben Stickman. Who's Emily?
Second? I'll accept.
Is that Emily and Leah?
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay. So first up is Rick for vice chair. All in favor? Can you help with me read the names off? Or?
I think we're gonna get to the.
Okay, you can put your hands there. Opposed? Ben, Rachel, Emily, Leah, and myself. I'm probably doing this wrong. This is where it is.
And did you abstain?
I was going to once he asked.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I
abstain.
I just wasn't sure if I missed your hand or not. I think. So I have Naomi, yes, Josh, yes, no abstain, Rick, yes, Kenny, no, Randy, yes, Tim isn't here, Rachel isn't here, Leah, no, Ben, no, Nicole, yes, Rachel, no, Melvin, yes, Rick, Tim, yes, Jesse, yes, okay. 574, 274, 55.
So, okay. I'll just go through. Ben, all in favor? Of Ben be vice chair? I'm not sure if we're doing this right.
Do you want to?
We just-
The motion passed.
I think the motion passed, the first motion passed, didn't it?
There's still a motion on the table.
Does a motion, does a nomination work the same way?
Well, that's why, see, that's why I said
We've
I'm,
never done that before with
Yeah,
the chair or
that's
anything
right.
else.
So you vote,
You can do the vote.
you gotta do the vote.
so, again, all in favor, Ben,
They didn't, they just said I nominate, that's different than a motion.
but then but somebody did, somebody did move in second Ben's.
I mean.
Don't have to have a
I
second
seconded.
nomination.
Yeah, you don't need a second for an
Did
It's
it?
just I nominate.
Okay, so there was Rachel,
Wait, but
for, this was for Ben,
for voting?
yes.
Yeah.
Rachel, Emily, Leah, myself, and Ben, did you?
Yeah.
Ben. And those opposed? Just the
It's gonna be the
first,
opposite of what I just wrote down.
Yeah. okay. And abstain. Oh,
Make a note, when you elect chair next year, the same process will happen then.
okay.
As before.
That's why, like I said,
One of myself abstains.
You didn't vote for yourself?
I did the first time, I just do. I could have abstained both times, it wouldn't matter.
Check it, Ken.
Yeah.
Or if you talk to you, you can ask.
Sure.
Tell how that was screwed up.
You're fine. As long as everyone voted, I think you're okay, but I'll check it.
I have a quick question that I wanna ask in a public setting.
Well,
Okay, just let,
almost done. I just gotta reverse all these.
if we have to revote, we'll revote.
I don't think you have to.
We'll check.
Yep.
$347, $432, $124.
Motion fails. Congratulations, Rick. Next, policy committee meeting, April 2nd, 5:30 PM, central office. Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
just wanted to know, did Ian produce those two videos that we saw?
No.
Okay,
EI did.
Yeah, I did.
It was, yeah, I got it.
Okay. I feel like I read a lot of Facebook comments. Who paid for those? The district?
EEI.
Okay, so it's like part of the package? Yeah.
It's part of what we get for our energy efficiency company. It's part of the services they're providing.
Part of the services they provide. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, they work in conjunction with EEI and the architect both.
It didn't cost an extra fee to the district.
No,
It's a great question.
it was something that we talked about after the 80 million bond.
It was something we were really encouraged.
Yeah, that they talked about how you promote things better and differently next time, and so that's what it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Tim?
Before we adjourn, I'd just like to take a moment and thank you very much for everything that you've done for the district. No, seriously, no. It needs to be recognized.
Yeah.
You're very
Ditto.
involved. You're leaving big shoes to fill, and we all appreciate you and we'll miss you.
Not many people show up at the high school until 1:30 or 2 in the morning to help Brian get the water running, so that we don't have to cancel school on Friday morning.
So,
Thank you.
You sure Abigail didn't kick him out during that time?
I was actually thinking of that, but I didn't want him to have to address that in public on camera.
You guys all met her, you can make your own decision.
I don't think that was the way it
Far
was.
too nice to do that, I know she's watching.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He wants to It's cold outside.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rick.
I just wanted to say that the Warren Town Selectmen has invited us, the board, they sent us an email to all the Warren representatives, but if anyone wants to come, it's gonna be, April Fool's Day, April 1st, 6:15. And they just basically want to know, they just want to know questions about the bond and the budget.
Follow up on that, I did send over the executive summary, 2
Yeah.
pages, just so they would have something to look at.
Right.
Maybe get some questions going. So they've already got that in their hands. They should be prepared for us.
Okay, I've got Noah and then Cole.
I'll just echo that anyone that can take them up on that offer, and this, again, I said it earlier, but I was just at my select board yesterday, and you wouldn't believe the amount that they appreciate just a simple update conversation, answering a couple questions that they have. It goes a long way. So just anyone that can make that happen, you should.
Okay, Nicole?
Can I get a copy of that presentation we received in here in an email? Because that's a good point that you emailed that over. I have an email started to the Union Select Board, and I just want to send that
You
ahead
want
of
me
time.
to just send it to you?
Well, the presentation.
slideshow.
Oh, that
slideshow we got
presentation,
today.
I'm sorry. No,
The videos?
No.
Yeah, presentation
The
is
printed-
currently on our website.
Yep, it's on the
It is?
website.
We have a page dedicated to both the budget and to the bond project.
Okay.
So anyone is free at any time to go to rsu40.org.
I just want to be able to send it with it.
And I already pushed the videos out to Facebook. And I will push them out through Parent Square as
Good.
well.
Good.
And the slides. Probably be Monday, I'm taking tomorrow off, but I'm on.
Would you like this?
I know,
No,
right?
it's fine. I can, I'll just get it off the website. I didn't realize it was there.
And since we've been talking about select boards, I saw one of the Waldeboro Select Board people today, and I said, depending upon how the vote went tonight, that we would be coming to them at some point to talk about the bond and questions they have on the budget, but no date or whatever on that.
They reached out to me as well. If I can make it, I will. If not, we'll figure it out. Happy to help.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. So again, policy, April 2nd, 5:30 PM, central office. Next board meeting, April 2nd, 7 PM at central office. Region 8 board meeting is March 25th, 6 PM at Midco School of Technology. It's
Budget
9.
meeting. Yeah, budget meeting, Monday, don't we?
Yeah.
Budget committee, yes.
Um,
And it's gonna be here. We decided that, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze down the gym, so we're gonna have budget meetings up here.
And when the agenda goes out,
Nicer chairs.
when the agenda goes out,
Yeah.
can that be mentioned? Our Parent Square or whatever, however it's been, so. Okay, it's 9:31, we are adjourned.
Can you send that location out
You write
tomorrow?
down, we can go.
Yeah,
Second on-
Great, just send it to you.
Sure.
Agenda.